Happy 2026 to you all. It's been a while since my last upload. Well, because on a personal level, it's been a tough couple of months. So I do appreciate you clicking on this video. After all, you are the reason why the channel grew in 2025. This channel is all me. No AI edits, voiceovers, or thumbnails. So if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a cup of coffee to fuel my uploads. Looking ahead to 2026, these upcoming games are not only my most anticipated, but also titles I expect to cover here on the channel. So let's get into it. Returnal was my 2021 Game of the Year, and I still feel it's criminally underrated. It was a punishingly difficult roguelike, third-person bullet hell shooter with heaps of narrative symbolism. Saros seems to be a spiritual successor to Returnal in every way. And that's not a bad thing. Developer Housemarque knew they had a winning formula. It just needed some refining to make it more accessible. Once again, not a bad thing. Saros is shaping up to have a larger focus on story with fully acted out cutscenes and gameplay, which seems to be equipping the player with powers that may tip the scale more to the side of player fun as opposed to player frustration. And as someone who threw their controller until I saw Returnal's true ending, I cannot wait to experience what Housemarque has cooked up with Saros.
Son of 009.
We need to inform M.
No time.
When Daniel Craig's Casino Royale was released in cinemas, it was refreshing to see an unrefined Bond upstart early in his career. I'm hoping we get to experience more of that with 007 First Light. It's coming across like a mix between Uncharted's tightly scripted set pieces and the open-ended gameplay approach of the Hitman franchise. This game's release has already been pushed back 2 months to May 27, but I think that extra polish might be well worth it. I have covered the Remedy Connected Universe in depth here on the channel. Do check that out if you love Alan Wake, Quantum Break, and of course, Control. I'll put the playlist link below. So to say I'm a fan is an understatement. Remedy is anything but predictable. They went from the narrative-driven horror survival shooter Alan Wake 2 to the terrible FBC Firebreak, a multiplayer co-op first-person shooter, and from Control, a third-person shooter, to now Control Resonant, a third-person melee action game that is giving off big Devil May Cry energy. Resonant is sort of a sequel, but not really, because you don't have to have played the first Control. You also don't play as Jesse Faden anymore, but as Dylan, her brother. Once again, Remedy, I am confused, I am excited. If previous Remedy titles are to be a clue, Control Resonant could drop anytime between August and October. If you're anything like me, growing up in the 80s and 90s, you were a Wolverine fan. Movie tie-ins, beat-em-ups, and fighting games are all cool, but after all this time, we finally get to go berserk in his own AAA title. It's a more focused narrative, with gameplay taking place within different hub-based areas. I mean, come on, we are gonna be fighting Omega Red and a freaking Sentinel. I'm calling it. This fall, we're going to see some kind of Danger Room horde mode. Lately, I've really been vibing with games that take on a grim dark fantasy theme. Something about that visceral, biomechanical nature that I'm clicking with. Vela Mortis is one of those games. It's a first-person action Souls-like that sees you play as a former soldier of Napoleon's army who has risen from the dead, now with supernatural powers. The devs just had a playtest in October and have promised to improve combat, which just means we are getting a better game when it releases in December. The Blood of Dawnwalker is developed by Rebel Wolves, a studio founded by ex-CD Projekt Red members. The Witcher 3's game director is also leading Dawnwalker's development. It's a story-driven single-player, open-world, dark fantasy game where you can live out your best vampire life, sucking blood and casually walking up walls. I never was one for the vampire genre, but the pedigree behind this game at the very least demands that we pay attention. It's confirmed for 2026, but a release window has yet to be announced. At this point, it's futile to ask if Grand Theft Auto 6 is hotly anticipated. It's more pertinent to ask if it will actually release in November, or will it be pushed back to the end of Take-Two Interactive's fiscal year, which ends March 31st, 2027. I wouldn't put it past Rockstar Games to delay the release by a few more months. And if you don't understand the hype by now, you're on the wrong channel, buddy. Okay, so I have 3 notable mentions which didn't quite make the above list, but I'm still keeping my eye on. Crimson Desert. This is a weird one, man. I mean, it seems to be a medieval fantasy with action RPG elements, kinda like Dragon's Dogma meets Breath of the Wild. I mean, this game looks wild, man. Also scheduled to release in March is Marathon, Bungie's first-person extraction shooter, and probably its last chance at studio autonomy before Papa Sony utterly subsumes the studio. All jokes aside, Marathon being pushed back actually has given Bungie time to make improvements to gameplay and visuals, as well as time apart from the various scandals of the studio. Most importantly, the delay gave time for the hype to die down on our creators, which may give Marathon a fighting chance. I recently played Pragmata's demo, and I thought I wouldn't like the whole hacking minigame thing, but I actually quite liked it. The rest of the package just didn't quite grab me, but I'm gonna wait and see if they reveal more as we get closer to release. Now this has to be my most anticipated gaming rumor. Witcher 3 is getting a DLC which is allegedly going to be significant in size, be a desert environment, and will act as a bridge between 3 and series story which continues in The Witcher 4. Please be true. So what's coming next to the channel are 2 separate videos on titles I think are too good to still be in early access, and may also be released in 2026, so stay subbed and notified for that. Which 2026 game are you most looking forward to? Let's discuss. Thanks again for watching, until the next one, be good to each other.